the dude from fucking the middle, isn't it?
That's Token, bro.
He's in the middle?
No, I'm joking.
Oh, I would have believed it. Welcome back to the AC Unit channel, and today we will be doing our third album review over Token's Pink is Better. This album released on January 14th, 2022. This is Token's first studio album, and it consists of 18 tracks durating over 52 minutes, and it includes 7 features. So, Aaron, kind of get into the start of this with your experience with Token in the past.
All right, so yeah, I'm pretty sure I have more experience with Token more than you do. Not a diss or anything. I'm just saying I've listened to most of his YouTube singles back in the day. I mean, I think you've listened to those too. There's some pretty crazy tracks. He's not bad. You know, he has talent. I personally think he has talent. I know some people don't like him because he's a corny white kid, but you know, I've listened to some of his works from his previous mixtapes, somewhere between an Eraser Shavings. Eraser Shavings.
Eraser Shavings.
But yeah, I mean that album has some of his most interesting work until we got this one. Now, what's your experience with Token?
Yeah, so I haven't heard any of his older work. I've only heard a few of his songs, like you said. I just really know him through YouTube and through social media. I feel like I'm familiar with that song he rapped about when he was on the basketball court to the J. Cole beat. Didn't he do a song to the J. Cole beat when everyone thought it was like a diss?
Yeah. Oh, it was a high J. Cole.
Yeah.
And he blew up because of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I know him like through mainly social media and YouTube. But outside of that, I haven't really heard any of his older work. So this is pretty much a brand new listen for me personally.
But the thing is, this album's so much more different than his previous works. It's hard to like say it is like your official first Token listen because it's really experimental, and we'll get into that later. But yeah, so we're gonna talk about for our first category the rollout and the singles. Now, if you want to go ahead and give your thoughts on the rollout and whatnot.
Yeah, so correct me if I'm wrong. I had down that IOD, High Heels, Sip, and Chit Chat were his rollout songs, and that was just based off what I saw on Spotify. I don't know if that's exactly correct.
And technically Dentures, which is a bonus track off of this album, that was like the first single he dropped. Or not first, but like it was his return to YouTube or something like that.
Gotcha. So there's 5 songs right there out of the 18 that were included in his rollout. I think if I was a Token fan and I was excited about this album coming up, I would say this is a pretty good rollout personally.
Oh,
But for me, being a new Token listener, I rated his rollout average. I don't think it was terrible. It includes 2 of my favorite songs in IOD and High Heels. Overall, it wasn't really overwhelming, but it wasn't underwhelming. So I kind of just put it in the middle average. So
no, I get that. And I would put it as great because of like, you know, all the like the high tracks that he did. He said hi Billie Eilish, where he rapped over Billie Eilish beats, and hi J. Cole and Tyler the Creator and stuff like that. I count that as the rollout because he did all of that stuff before he dropped the album just to stir up some controversy and get his name on the map again. I did like a lot of the singles other than maybe a few, but actually only one single I'm looking here I didn't like, but we'll get more into the singles later. I wouldn't say it's a really grand rollout for what it is. I mean, it's pretty average. That's my ranking as well. I mean, he has dropped a few singles and he had like an album trailer. No, give me great on this because I think what he did with the high tracks and like how he kind of put his name back on the map and stir up controversy, and what he did with like his trailers that I recently watched. I think his rollout was better than most people's because he really wanted to bring hype to his first studio album. So yeah, I have to give it great. I do.
you're not gonna convince me this is great. I'm just gonna tell you
Really?
that right now. I'm set on my average. So yeah,
We're gonna fight to the death. That's what we're gonna fucking do.
average it is.
You think this is average?
Yes, and
I think he did more work than others to get, first of all, his name up there with all of like the tracks he did before the album. He released a good amount of singles, and a lot of the singles were my favorite tracks. Which, I mean, it says we're gonna talk about the album later, but like the rollout itself, there were some pretty good tracks in the singles, and I mean, I think if you haven't watched his trailers yet, because he has a few of them, but those trailers were dope as shit. So I mean, I have to give it great for that reason.
All right, we'll kind of come back to that.
After a 10-day argument, we figured out we're just gonna give it average. I'm so tired.
So right now we'll kind of leave that blank, but on to the second category, the concept. If you want to go ahead and give us your reasoning behind what you rated it at, go ahead.
Yeah. So I had the concept as average, and I was actually kind of debating on great or average. I think average is perfect for it because as much as we had the gripes for our album, I really did enjoy the concept of Token finding himself after he made some mistakes and stuff like that. Because obviously it's his first studio album. He's still growing as a person. He's not old. You know, he's kind of young. So I mean, album's really personal. It's primarily about Token reflecting on his past mistakes. The colors, I like that concept as well, with red being Token's lustful, sinful, and douchebag side, while white is like Token's vulnerable side, where he talks about his problems, insecurities, alcohol abuse, and his mistakes that he made. And then pink, obviously, is that balance between the two.
combo, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And certain songs off the album can be characterized as whether they're pink, white, or red songs, which I find to be a really cool concept. It kind of like adds more variety to the album sound and whatnot. But personally, I am a bigger fan of all of the white songs because the red songs don't fit into the album as much as the white ones do, in my opinion. It sounds like just regular singles he threw on there. I mean, the story of Token's breakup, him trying to find himself and trying to find his sound in the process, hence this really experimental album. I think it's an interesting concept, but it's not executed as perfectly as it could have been, as a lot of the songs feel out of place. So I think that's why I gave it average.
Yeah, I agree. I think the red songs, if you look at it from the color concept, were the more enjoyable songs to me personally.
I got you.
Um,
Yeah, they are enjoyable songs. I think the white ones are better in my opinion. I think they're more personal. I like a lot of the personal work that he does because he really puts his heart into it. So
yeah, and I think I'm the exact opposite. I didn't really like the more personal songs personally. I didn't really like the concept of this album at all.
you didn't.
And that may just be because I'm new to listening to him. But I gave this category underwhelming status.
I
So
got you. I still think we should give this one average because it's a good concept whether you do like it or not. It's nothing crazy. But it does have a good concept. That's how I see it. So
if we bump this one up to average, then we're
then
gonna
we're
put
gonna
roll
drop
at average.
roll
So.
out to average. I
Okay,
respect
so we'll
that.
go ahead and put rollout and concept in at average for our group rating. I think that's fair.
Yeah, it is fair. I agree.
On to the third category now, vocal performance. This was one of the few ones I rated bad. I just feel like, to me, before you kind of get into your thoughts, I feel like his voice is just really monotone. And I feel like the only voice he has is that rap voice.
Yeah.
And when he tries to sing, it just sounds the same, and you don't really get a distinct difference. And that's just my personal opinion. Obviously, people have differing opinions on that, but for me, I just didn't really think vocally he had any standouts. And the songs that were good vocally were carried by the features. IOD, for example, was carried by both of those features, I think. In terms of
And
vocal
Token doesn't
performance.
really have a vocal performance. It's more of just a rap,
Yeah, and I feel like that's how all of his verses were just either fast raps or slower raps. They weren't
Yeah.
really vocal performances, in my opinion. So that's why I gave it bad.
Not sure. I think you have me convinced, but I just had it originally at underwhelming. But I personally enjoy Token's voice for some reason. On songs where he sings, we're not really sings, but he attempts to break out of his shell, have more of a vocal performance.
You like that man's voice on the screen right there?
I don't know why he's still up. He should have been gone.
Hey, yo, tripping.
Hey, what? I'm trying to get a sneak peek of the podcast. Get your ass out of here. But no, I mean
Oh, it's Brick. That's Brick.
yeah.
I couldn't
That's
think
his
of his
name.
name.
That's his name.
Dang it. Okay.
Yeah, obviously he still has this corny aspect to his voice. That's just how it is. That's how he's going to be. I mean, since he puts a lot of emotion on his stuff and his work, he's going to sound out of tune sometimes, out of place. But when Token attempts to go more vocal on certain tracks and the more slow tracks and the white tracks like Not Love and Sip, and Be Happy, which actually are some of my favorite tracks off the album, I do kind of enjoy it. And I feel like if he worked on it more and he honed it, it could be something decent. I mean, I think for what he did, his vocals are nice. And yeah, admit there is no mixing problems on this album. All of his production and stuff like that. I think it's all right. What are you grimacing for?
I don't agree with that at all, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
Really?
With production,
What
but
category are we gonna get into that with? Production?
Probably more production if I had to pick one, but
Okay. Yeah, I mean my ranking's underwhelming though, and I think we can.
I can get down with that, I
Yeah.
guess. I don't agree, but I can see. I like your reasoning behind it, so yeah, we'll go ahead and put vocal performance in as underwhelming. And now onto the fourth category, we have lyrics. Now, what did you have this rated, and what were your reasons behind it?
I had bad.
Really, this might be the only category I one upped you. I had underwhelming.
Really?
And that's
Yeah,
probably very generous.
it is. I mean, I literally start out my notes with, "Oh God, here we go," and the rest is a whole ass rant because.
Let's hear it, because I'm kind of curious.
So some of my problems with Token, he uses a lot of repetition in his lyrics to fit his rhymes, kind of like what Eminem does. He says words fast to like rhyme everything, even if it doesn't have any substance. Token falls into that trap in this album, and it comes off obnoxious and annoying most of the time. A lot of his lyrics come off as obnoxious in general, as the whole concept of this album is him going through these white and red phases to reach his balance phase. So a lot of the red tracks that are meant to be Token, like during this phase, they have some out of hand, horny, and toxic lyrics, and I cannot stand it. A lot of the awful one liners here. We have a instruct gold, bad vibes, gotta shake it off. The bad little girl like Drake and Josh.
Yeah, dude, I've been thinking about that bar all day because I heard it.
Like, what the hell is he trying to say? It comes off as predatory, man. It's just gross.
Yeah, and if he's looking at it as like when he was younger, he had like a crush on her, I can get it, but like it just comes off super predatory, and he likes younger girls.
There's another. This is a while ago. Actually, it was on Eraser Shavings. There's a song called "Mama's Favorite Chair" by him, and he talks about how he wakes up in the morning, jacks off to Sam and Cat, and he's medicated or some shit. So this isn't the first time, like, you know.
So he's a big Nickelodeon fan, huh?
Very big Nickelodeon fan. Yeah, but some other lines include on Chit Chat, "Smack that ass, now it's redder than some MAGA shit."
Hey, that's good conceptual wordplay there with the colors. Come on. I'm just kidding. That was shit.
That Cory and I had to pause the song and just look at each other and laugh, dude. That was so bad.
There's always those certain moments where you just stop it when you hear it, and you have to like literally just sit in silence and just laugh, and that was definitely one of them. That was horrible.
Yeah. And the song "Round of Applause."
That song is so bad. I don't want to
is-
hear anyone say that song's relevant or good. That song
No.
was horrible.
Literally, the songs that have all caps in this album are my least favorites. But he said she did a curtsy on my dick, like she finished the scene. I can't help but laugh at reading these.
If
This
you're
is
rapping
ridiculous.
and you say curtsy in your line, then get the hell out of here. I'm never listening to you again.
It's awful. In the song "Pink," he says, "But more often than that, I'm eating pussy to the Playboy Cardi album, Loving Life."
Like, these are so memorable, but
they're
so bad.
Like, literally, Pink was becoming a great song until he said that fucking line, and that song out the window. I'm never gonna listen to it again. That's just how it is for a lot of his.
Yeah, I've heard
songs
enough
on
of the bars. I think we get it. Like, they're really, really, really bad.
But I have to mention them because they're just fucking hilarious.
No, that's enough. Please.
I have one more. I'm just joking, but I mean, I have a lot to say on this category because I gave it bad. I have to explain why I gave it bad for a
You
reason.
just explained it with those 4 or 5 lines you mentioned, I feel like.
Well, I mean, come on now. Like, the song "White Turns Red." What the fuck was that, man? It's
Dude,
Token drunk rapping. I get that it fits into the concept, but it's just so embarrassing. And, like, I don't know. That's why I had to give it bad, man. He does have some good punchlines, but they get outshined by every single bad line on every single song. And when there's a song I like, it has an awful line in it, and I don't want to listen to it again. That's my problem with this album.
Yeah, I don't know why I gave it underwhelming now. I thought I'd be nice and kind of give him a decent, I say decent, but that's like the second worst on our list, but
Yeah,
I'm down to give it bad.
I don't want to, like, overshine the concept of the album and, like, the sentimental aspects of it, but everything bad just takes over everything that's good. Like, I can't even give it underwhelming because it's not underwhelming. It's just awful. Awful lyricism, awful punchlines, awful bars. They overtake everything, and it just makes me not enjoy this album listening to it. You know, I can't listen to it unless it's for the sound, so. Alright, so we're gonna have to give the lyrics bad. I'm sorry, but this is the first bad on the channel we've given for an album review, like, for a category. So, I mean, we have to do it. Like, that's just how it is. Yeah, so we're just gonna move on to production, and you tell me your ranking, because you might be shocked by mine.
Hot.
Hey! Hey!
I gave it average.
Did you really? I'm actually surprised.
What'd you put?
I gave it great.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to explain my reasoning, because a lot of production on here,
I thought you hated on the production earlier when we were talking about
no.
vocal performance. You said the production was bad.
No, I never said that.
Yes, you
When
Oh
did I
my
say
God, we're gonna
that?
go back and listen to this, and I'm gonna flame you because you were literally making fun of me for saying the
Hey,
production.
this is an album review. It's about Token, okay?
No, it's
Not
about.
us.
It's never about Token. It's always about us.
Pink is better. Right now we're both red. We need to calm the hell down. No, the production really did grow on me. At first, I said I didn't like most of it, but I love a lot of the instrumentals, like Amsterdam with its crazy out of hand industrial sound, like with raw drum kicks and like slow paced hi
It's the
hats.
butcher.
We'll get into his verse later, dude. That verse has grown on me so hard.
No, it hasn't.
It hasn't for you.
No.
I love, dude. Benny the Butcher comes in so hard, but like I like the songs like "Sip" and "Be Happy" for the more mellow production and the all of the slower paced production on this album. I kind of like it more than you probably do, but and yeah, obviously the standout one for me probably is "Caught on Camera" with like that dazzling high pitched synth at the start and that loops throughout the whole song. I do like that stuff. I like the experimental aspects of this production. It's appealing to me at least. I think it's pretty good for what it is. I mean, it's safe to say he definitely experimented on this album with a lot of different melodies and styles and even the drunk rapping, which I hope he never does again. But even with like the good, there's always going to be some bad, especially with this album.
There's a lot more bad than good.
Like songs like "Thank God," "I Can't Help," "Best Highs," and "White Turns Red." I did not like those productions at all. Like, it's just definitely not. Those songs don't stand out to me for sure, production wise or lyric wise. Like they're bad songs, in my opinion. But yeah, that's why I gave it great. For what it is, I like a lot of the production on this album.
Yeah, I think. So I gave it average. I think songs like "Hot" and "High Heels" were two of my favorite productions. Those were two of the first songs on the album. So
Definitely. I forgot to
that I
shout.
like.
Hot's a good. I like "Hot" now. It grew on me.
And then IOD, I think that's my favorite song on the whole album. That's another great production, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, I mean, you mentioned a couple that are pretty solid, but most of the others I just wasn't a fan of. And I think you were talking about the mixing earlier. You said the mixing.
I
What'd you say
thought
about
I
the
didn't
mixing?
see like any mistakes with it, unless like there is one I missed. But
Maybe I was shitting on the production and you weren't. Okay, but
I don't
because I said I thought the mixing was off in a few of the songs personally.
what songs like were that? Do you remember?
No,
You know.
I just because I was really listening to it at work and I wasn't listening to what song it was, so
I
I'd
got
have to
you.
go back and look. That's how many shits I gave about this album. I was just listening to it, just listen to it, and get it over with. But yeah, I think average is honestly probably
I think we can give it average. I can see that.
yeah average for sure. I wouldn't go any higher.
Yeah, I mean, we both had a pretty entertaining first listen for what it was until we got to like the second half of the album at least. I mean,
So for production, average is our group rating. On to the sixth category now. We got features. I was kind of, you're going to be surprised by this. I was stuck between, actually, I want to hear what you have to say first. What was your rating?
I have underwhelming.
Okay, I was stuck between bad and underwhelming.
Really?
Yeah, you probably would have been stuck between average and underwhelming.
I was. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think underwhelming is the category we have to give it, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah, I wrote down, or do you want to go first? No, I'll go first. I wrote
Why'd
down.
you ask me, bro? Of course you're going first.
Rico Nasty was I wouldn't say really good, but it
was
fit the song well.
It was great. You know, I like her verse a lot.
Yeah, I wrote that down. I wrote Lil Skies. I like Lil Skies' work. I listened to his albums in the past. I liked his feature on
Yeah.
IOD. And then YKD, I like the chorus in IOD a lot. It's so
Yeah.
catchy, super fun to listen to.
It had to grow on me for sure, but it's kind of caught on now.
I think those three features out of the, I believe, what was it, 9 features? I don't even remember. 7 features.
Yeah.
So those three were my favorites. The JID feature was kind of underwhelming for me personally.
Really?
And then the butcher, his verse was really underwhelming to me as well. And then I don't even know the other two people. I don't even care. Oh, Digital Nas.
I was gonna get
Digital
into that,
Nas.
dude. We originally thought he was like electronic robot voice of Nas. Like we heard his voice, I was like, "Who the hell is this?" That's funny though, bro. I mean,
yeah.
The features span for me at least between great and underwhelming. I mean, I think the only 2 features I enjoyed that were like great, I have to give it to like Rico Nasty and Benny the Butcher. I think Benny's verse grew on me a lot. And obviously, I haven't heard a lot of his stuff, but from what I've heard, I absolutely love it. So I mean, those are the 2 great features in my opinion. Some average verses for me, or forgettable ones. Digital Nas.
The real Nas.
Yeah, no. Imagine if Token had Nas on this album.
Nas and Digital Nas in
Dude,
the same track.
That'd be crazy.
And no Token. It's just those two because it'd have been a bit.
They'd beef. They'd beef throughout the whole song. But Saint Leor, I mean, he wasn't bad on the outro track of I Can't Help. It was really short-lived and forgettable since a lot of repetition was used here. Yeah, I think some verses I was really disappointed with. Obviously, I think JID is one of them. Despite I do like that song, I think he flows over that beat, but it's definitely not like the craziest verse I've ever heard from him. It's not bad, but obviously I hold him to a higher standard than most people because I think he's like one of the best artists upcoming in the generation. So it's kind of weird to see him on this Token song too. It felt like out of nowhere, but that and then actually the Lil Skies feature I found underwhelming. I mean, I love Lil Skies stuff, but a lot of his stuff sounds the same. And don't get me wrong, I feel like the same way if like the Baby and Lil Baby. Like I like a lot of their stuff, but they have the same formula for most of their stuff. It's like it's really like their verses on separate songs, they sound the same on different songs, but I still like it because I like their style. It's the same thing with Lil Skies, you know. He keeps it safe like he always does. So I mean, I can't really crap on him for it because I still like it. But yeah, that's why I gave the features underwhelming.
Yeah, so I think you have me sold on underwhelming. I think
Definitely.
there's only 7 features, and if I give almost half pretty solid okays, I can get down for underwhelming. So we'll go ahead and put in underwhelming for features. And now onto the last category, we got will it age well and replay value. And yeah, it will not age well for me. I gave it bad in terms of replay value. So no, I do not think it'll age well. 3 out of the 18 tracks for me will be listened to throughout the course of the year, but the other 15 for me are going in the garbage personally, so that's enough to put it at bad for me. So what did you have for this category?
I think in terms of Token and his growth, I don't think it will age well at all because I think he'll look back at this album like he did with his previous mixtape, Between Somewhere, and he'll come out and say, damn, this shit's embarrassing. Like him rapping drunk on a track, he'll look back on it and be like, wow, I can't believe I did that. He's not going to look back at Reminisce and be like, oh, what a good song. No, he will never do that. I think a lot of people will also be like this. The album really focuses on the present, and since Token is still clearly growing as a person, I don't think you'll appreciate a lot of the lyrics he put into this album as well. For the replay value, I think there are some songs I might listen to from here on out, but that's maybe like 5 out of the 18. So I mean, if if you tell me you're gonna be bumping White Turns Red on any aux ever, that's
You don't get the aux
No.
anymore. Like, you don't deserve it.
no. Yeah, I mean, I feel like some songs will appeal in the future at some point for me personally, but even in the moment, I don't really want to replay this album, so that's why I give this underwhelming.
Yeah, I was dying for this to be over. Personally, I'm sorry, Token.
Yeah.
But I will give him this. He has 3 songs that I will be listening to for a little bit at least, and
he
that's
does
more
have some
than I
bangers.
expected.
I mean, fuck, dude.
That's more than I expected, so I will give him that. I don't know how long I'll listen to these songs, but we'll
I think
see.
since I don't know, I like Token like more like surprisingly more than some other artists putting out stuff. So I mean, I think I'll be bumping into some of this stuff for a while.
Yeah,
That's
and
why I gave it underwhelming. You know?
yeah, me and Aaron, we have a 2022 playlist going, each of songs that we review and songs we like off of the albums. And I'll definitely put those 3 on there.
Yeah.
And it'll be cool to look back on it at the end of the year and see how our playlist is shaping out. But I can't put more than 3 on there. So
So we're gonna do bad or underwhelming. We should do underwhelming, dude. Because if it's bad, it has to be like 1 to 2 or 0. You know.
yeah, I say underwhelming. So we'll go ahead and put in for replay value. Will it age well? We both agreed no, and we will put it at underwhelming. And now on to, before we get into final thoughts, I think we should just go ahead and give our overall ratings.
I agree. So yeah, my numerical ranking for Pink is Better is 4 out of 10.
Do you want to guess mine?
3 out of 10. 2.5.
It's actually higher than 3.
3.5?
I gave it 3.5.
Oh, dang. I'm actually kind of shocked by that.
Um,
I can see that. No, I see that now.
yeah. So
It might drop. I can see it dropping to a 3 for you clearly, though.
yeah.
It just depends on how it ages, you
if
know.
these songs fade off, it'll definitely drop lower. But yeah,
I think 4 out of 10 is the best I can give it. I don't think I can give any higher. Maybe 4.5, but that's probably asking for too much. So
yeah. outside, like I've been going over and over on this. Outside of those few songs that I really like, this album will never be listened to again for me. So
Yeah, and I think personally for different people, they'll choose different songs they like because this album has a lot of variety in it. A lot of people are gonna like certain styles, and a lot of them won't like the other ones. So I mean, I get it. I understand that rating, and yeah, definitely. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into my final thoughts because I'm apparently the final thoughts guy now. So
on to the CEO of Final Thoughts, Aaron.
all right, so Token's Pink is Better is a more personal accomplishment for Token and an attempt to put it into a musical story for us to hear and get an understanding of. With this in mind, a lot of the banger tracks, which represent the color red, come off obnoxious, toxic, and lack of focus towards the concept, in my opinion. However, the white tracks are personally some of my favorites. Songs like Sip and Be Happy really showcase the vulnerable side of Token, and they have pretty decent vocal performances, nothing crazy, obviously. They have some catchy melodies, and are just overall better constructed tracks. Listening to this album from start to finish is an interesting experience. You may appreciate the different production styles Token uses as we go from track to track, showing that he's stuck in a creative block and still trying to find a sound that works best for him, but it may be an acquired taste for most people. Token could have excelled lyrically if he left out a lot of the song-ruining bars, as the story interested me within the first 7 songs, but it quickly falls through when he goes through his red stage. Overall, this album was a little disappointing. I had high hopes for the rest of it after starting to listen, and I'm sure Cory did too, but it all crumbles midway through the album. Obviously, Token's still growing as an artist, so since this is his first studio album, I think he'll grow into something better.
So before we get into the outro, we kind of want to state that our next video will be beginning our discography dive series, and we will be kicking it off with none other than J. Cole. We will be starting with his mixtape, The Warm Up, and going into his debut album, Cole World. And we are really excited to finally get this series started for you guys, and this will be one of our feature series going forward. So,
Yes, sir. I'm super excited for it as well. Can't wait to see what we can get out of that. And yeah, let me head on to the outro. Thank you guys for watching our Pink is Better album review. Do we miss anything? Do you guys have an opinion you'd like to share? Be sure to leave your comments down below, and if you enjoyed the video, be sure to share our channel, like the video, and subscribe. Since we're just starting out, spreading the word of our hard work would be greatly appreciated. This is A speaking.
and this is C,
Signing
signing
off.
off.